Welcome to the Think Atheist radio show, brought to you by thinkatheist.com. And now, here's your host, Dr. Freak.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Frank, and I'm an atheist. When most people I've talked to think of atheism, they think it means a complete rejection of the supernatural in addition to disbelief in gods. Tonight, I'm here to tell you that that's not always the case. There are people who don't hold a God belief, yet believe in things like ghosts and an afterlife, and some of these people might even consider themselves spiritual or New Age. And then there are a few who self-identify as atheists. Most of us, in my experience, reject all things supernatural in favor of strict materialism. When I was preparing for the show tonight, I had to decide whether I wanted to handle specific supernatural claims individually or whether I should handle them in groups. Supernatural claims is a non-religious supernatural claims, of which there are many. But instead of dividing them into groups, categories, I said to hell with it and lumped them all together under the same umbrella. The atheist in me, I guess, would say there's already a category for non-existent things, non-existent. That's essentially the approach I'm taking tonight, and I'll tell you why. Whether you're talking about psychics or pseudo-scientific doctors and self-proclaimed healers, magic, ghosts, or UFOs, they all fail for similar reasons, if not identical ones, as I will demonstrate. The first problem facing those who argue on behalf of the supernatural is credibility. The supernatural causes which have been attributed to unexplained phenomena throughout human history have all been explained and demonstrated with science. Volcanic eruption was once assumed to reflect the anger of supernatural forces. Severe mental disorders were presumed to be caused by demonic possession. Disease was seen as a curse rather than an abnormality of your physiology. But fortunately, we're no longer sacrificing people on altars to appease volcanoes, nor are we burning people alive for their neurochemistry. Neither are we banishing people for wrongs we assume contributed to their illnesses. And the sciences of geology, organic chemistry, and medicine have provided natural explanations and sound understanding for all of these things, rather than the chaotic guesswork of witch doctors and shamans. Now, one might ask, what helpful or reliable information has come through with the use of divination or the practice of Reiki? Why not treat patients with healing crystals rather than pharmaceuticals? Why not rely on rain dances rather than engineered irrigation systems? The answer to me is obvious. The supernatural solutions don't work, and they've been shown not to work, while the scientific ones do work and have been shown to work. The problem with supernatural claims is that they're unreliable. It's always been credibility. That is our number one problem. The solutions offered are always unreliable unless you specifically happen to believe it works. Then it's a whole other matter. So, how do we deal with claims that one is directly experienced, such as a spiritual presence in a room, or they claim they've been cured by something such as cancer through homeopathy? You have to go back to the evidence. In all these cases, you always have to go back to the evidence on this. I remember once watching a video on ghost hunting and hauntings, where the producers of the program met with some and I use this term very loosely, professional ghost hunters. Yes, they do exist. They called them to check out a house, and they came equipped with video cameras, infrared cameras, all sorts of microphone devices, dowsing rods, and even an actual piece of scientific equipment, and electromagnetic field detector. They brought these things with them into this 100-year-old house, and they were led to believe that it was haunted. Historically, the house has a reputation for being haunted with a specific story involving a murder there of a child. But the ghost hunters, they weren't told that. Instead, on their own, they came to the conclusion that it must be haunted based on the following criteria. From data they collected with their instruments they brought in, they had static feedback with ambiguous noises on their recording devices, and they said, "Can you hear it?" It says it's mouthing the words "help me." Then the voiceover comes in and points out that the sound is actually kind of nondescriptive. It's just can sort of be taken any way. And he says, now try to listen for the word fluffy instead of help me. And amazingly enough, it sounded like fluffy. So I mean, that's kind of a testament to the power of suggestion. What else do they have? They had dust motes collecting light on the cameras, and they identified these as spirit orbs. Spirit orbs. Look that one up. You'll get a kick out of it. And they had a high reading on the electromagnetic field detector, which was actually revealed to be old faulty wiring from the 100-year-old house. In the end, they identified the entirely wrong rooms that were supposed to be associated with the haunting, but rejected the idea that their methods were the problem. On the same program, several psychic mediums, all successful in their careers, not just some chumps on a corner store, I guess. They were asked to evaluate the nature of the haunting of this house and to determine where the ghosts were and who they were and how they died. They got partial credit for identifying the ghost as a murder victim, which is almost obvious. That seems to be one of the number one reasons for hauntings, is a traumatic experience such as a murder. But they couldn't get anything more specific than that. They didn't get the name right, nor the age of the person, not even the gender. Which is a 50-50 chance there. They didn't get that right. I take that back. I think one guessed the room and the gender. They guessed the room the crime took place in, but stacked up against all the negative hits, or I guess misses, really. One correct answer can be expected as a result of mere chance. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, now, wait a minute, Frank. Love referring to myself in the third person. Anyway, now wait a minute, Frank, you say. That just proves that ghost hunters and psychics are quacks. But it doesn't prove that ghosts don't exist. A point which I concede. But isn't it peculiar how the evidence for these things never seem to hold up to actual scrutiny, especially rigorous scrutiny? And isn't it convenient how these phantoms simply don't show up when investigated more closely? You'll have people claim, oh, well, there have been plenty of sightings of ghosts here. Let's go there with cameras. Let's talk about it and prove for absolute certain that these things exist. It never seems to happen. The ghost in question, or the spiritual presence, or the any kind of other strange phenomena associated with a particular haunting never seems to show up when the investigators are there. And there's a reason for that, and the reason is